All right, so here we have, it says the box for the new Sasquatch theme cereal, Cryptos, is to have a volume of 140 cubic inches. For aesthetic reasons, the height of the box needs to be 1.62 times the width of the base of the box. Find the dimensions of the box, which will minimize the surface area of the box, and what is the minimum surface area, and then round to 2 decimal places. So what do we have? Well, let's draw a box first. So we're going to have some box, and that comes down and back like that. And maybe let's call that X. We don't know the length, we'll call that L. We know the height is 1.62. Actually, let's not call it X, let's call it W, because that's width. It's 1.62 times the width, so 1.62 W. Okay, so now we've got all the pieces here. Now, so we're going to say W is width, length is L, and then our height is 1.62 W because that's what was given. So that's what we've labeled, that's what we have. And so now what we need to do is think about what is volume. Well, volume is equal to length times width times height. So we know 140 is equal to length times width times, well, height is 1.62 W. Now if I can write a 6, okay. All right, so that's what we have here. Now we also have to know what else. We have to know that surface area. Well, what is the surface area of a box? Well, surface area is going to be, well, we have a width times the kind of length times width times length times width. And so it's going to be a W times 1.62 W. And there's going to be two, one on each end. So there's going to be two of those. Plus, now this one's going to be, there's going to be two of them. So I'll just go ahead and put that 2 there. 2 times L times 1.62 W plus 2 times, well, we've done this side, we've done this side. Now we have to do the tops. And so that's going to be width times length. And so now we should have all of our sides. Now, what do we want to do? Well, now what we have to do is we have to think about going one direction or the other. We have to take and put this in here or figure out how to put that in here. Well, we have L's in in two different places, so that's going to be hard to do. But we have L in one place here in terms of W, and so we could get rid of all the L's here and have this in terms of W only. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, well, L is equal to, well, how do I solve this for L? Well, I'm going to take 140 divided by, now I have a W times 1.62 W, so it's going to be a 1.62 W squared, okay? And so I'm going to place that now in this L here and this L here. And so this is going to give me, well, that's 2 times 1.62. Maybe I should go ahead and multiply that out. 1.62 times 2, that's 3.24. So let's go ahead and put 3.24 here. 3.24 W squared. And then that's going to be 2 times that again. So it's going to be plus 3.24. And then L is going to be the times 140 over 1.62 W squared. And then that's times W still. Okay, so we have some things that actually we could have canceled out if we would have simplified, because now that would have canceled here. One of those cancels there, but we'll get to that point here in a little bit. And then 2W times 140 over 1.62 W squared. Okay, so now let's start canceling what we can. So one of those cancels that. That cancels one of those. Now this 1.62 cancels one of those, so that's still a 2. And I think that's all. So now that gives us a 3.24 W squared. 2 times 140 is 280, and that's all over W. And then plus that's 2, well, I'm just going to say that's 280 over 1.62 W. Okay, so I think that should give me what I need. And so what I'm going to do now is try to remember, let me write it down, try to remember what all that is after I simplified. 3.24 w squared plus 280 over w plus 280 over 1.62 w. Okay, and we're just going to plug that directly into our calculator, and we're going to minimize it again, I think. And so let's clear that. And so we had 3.24, and now we're saying they're x's because we can't put a w in here, and then plus 280 divided by x plus 280 divided by the quantity 1.62x parenthesis. Now let's see what it looks like here. All right, so we don't have to go quite as far. We're let's see, maybe minus 10 and see that if that works, and 20 and 5. Yeah, that'll work. We don't care really what it is. We want to minimize that point right there. So let's go here. 3. Our left bound is going to be over here. Our right bound is somewhere over here. And we'll choose an area here. So we get 4.12 comma 164.91. All right, so let's see here. Go back to this. And we get W, because now we solve this, and so we get W equals, and we said it was 4.12, and we're in inches, so that would be inches. Now, if we have that, okay, well, we can solve for L. L is going to be equal to, and I'm just going to type this in my calculator, 140 divided by, and then the quantity 1.62 times 4.12. And so I get with that, oh, that was squared. I forgot to square that. All right, so squared. And so then, 0.6, okay, W 4.12. All right, let me pause while I get this calculator working. All right, so I couldn't get the squared part in the right place. So we have 5.09 inches for that one. And so now what is our last one we need? We've got width, length, and so then we have height is equal to 1.62 times 4.12, and that gives us 6.67 inches. And again, these are all rounded, and so that's going to be, within, whatever it is. So if we took actually 4.12 times 6.67 times 5.09, we get 139.87. It's not exactly 140, but because we rounded, it's going to be okay. Now, it said, what is also the minimum surface area? Well, that was our value we got for our y. So we had, the x comma y we got was 4.12 comma, and then we had 164.91. Well, this is going to be our surface area, and it wants it to 2 decimal places, so we get 164.91, and that's inches squared. Okay, so that's the dimensions of the box and the surface area of that box rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay. So again, the key was getting down to at least this equation, or you could have done it at that one itself too, and plugged that into our calculator, found that minimum, and then gone from there. So calculator and minimum. Okay. And so again, we could have done it at either of these spots. We did it at the second one just because after we canceled everything, it made it a little simpler. And so that would solve that one for us. All right, what about this one? So the population of Sasquatch in Portage County was modeled by the function pt equals 150t over t plus 15, where t equals 0 represents the year 1803. When were there fewer than 100 Sasquatches in Portage County? Well, if 150t over t plus 15 is our population, when was that less than or equal to? Well, actually not equal to. This just says when it was at fewer than, so we're not equal to. less than 100. So that's our setup using inequalities. Well, how do we solve this? Well, I'm going to multiply both sides by t plus 15. Because when I do that, it cancels here. I get 150t less than, here I have 100t plus, and that's going to be 1500. Okay. Now if I subtract 100t, that gives me 50t is less than 1500 divided by 50, and it looks like t is less than 30. Okay, so less than 30 years. So that means I'm going to go from, when was it fewer than? Well, between 1803, and if we add 30 to that, that's going to be 1832, because it has to be less than that, less than the 33. So 32 is less than that, and so that would be the number of years that is going to be in that range of less than 100. All right, let's pause there.